don't have the love to share and all of those things. I just don't have capacity. That's all. Like I would love to love and share, and I already did the single mom marrying a single dad thing. We were a blended family. That's great and all, but I don't want to deal with other baby mamas drama stuff or any other issues like that. And I would just rather spend the rest of my years dying in peace, per se. Tootie, I'll hand it over to you if you have an answer for Texas Bully Mom.
Let's see. No, you have your own personal preferences. You shouldn't be judged for what you prefer, what you don't prefer. Do as you will. I mean, shit. I don't see any problem with that. No.
Yeah, I don't see either.
I
Mrs.
think it's
Balderson?
better to know the way you feel about it, because once you're involved and there's kids on the line, that's worse to me. I'd rather somebody know up front.
Exactly.
No, I don't want to date somebody with kids. Okay, great. We're not a match. That's fantastic.
Right. That
there
makes
you
it
go.
easy.
The honesty and upfront, you might really, really jive well with that person, but if that's ultimately a deal breaker, I want to know that up front.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Plus, the older you get, the less patience you have.
Yes.
So
yes.
bringing in other kids into a situation is like, okay, you got to
The
mind your
older
P's
you-
and Q's, what the other parent might think, and all this and that. It's like,
The older you get,
I like
the
my
more
life.
you should realize how hard it is to just meet a motherfucker that you truly gonna vibe with. Whether they have kids or not will be secondary, tertiary even. If you find that one, that will dictate everything. It's a luxury of you. I'm not gonna go after anybody. Nigga, if that's the right one, it's the right one, and that won't change anything. You'll love the kid like you love the chick.
I don't think that's true of everybody, and I'd rather take a man at his word. If he says he doesn't want kids, I believe you. I'm not going to make my kids suffer through it because you say so, but you don't really mean it. My kids are going to be on the line then if you decide that, you know what, this isn't really what I wanted.
that's how you get a lot of
Pardon
bad
me for just a
situations.
moment. Mr. Work backstage, I see you back there. I just need a quick cam up and a little hello or whatever, and we can throw you up.
Would the age
You
of
could
the
go
children-
back into avatar mode when you're done, but I just need a little hello back there. Go ahead, Sasquatch. I apologize.
Would the age of the children affect whether or not you would date a single mother? I think so.
I do too.
I like babies. I don't have an issue with babies. Babies cry, they mess their pants, you clean them up, you let them run around in the yard and step on Legos and shit. They're fun. Teenagers are
But
hard
they
to
don't
deal
have
with.
time.
Give them a choice.
Cock, you're famous.
Yeah, but I feel like 16
What a
years.
strange statement.
2 years.
Oh, Rachel from Rachel's Ghost is here.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Raids.
Okay.
Oh
Holy
shit! I just
wow.
shook all my stuff up. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you. All right.
Squatch,
Go
I
ahead.
agree with what Squatch was saying. I think the age does make a difference, and I kind of agree that babies are easy. And then if you're raising a baby, that baby knows you as their parent, and they're being raised in your house with
Exactly.
your rules from a very early age. And then the other thing I think is late teenager might not be too bad either, because you only have a couple years before they're independent. And
Also, late teenager, in my experience, is rational enough to understand that mama gonna be a freak and ain't nothing they can do about it. So you can
And
actually
late
come.
teenager, you and mom can go out all the time. Kid can take care of himself, as opposed to
Right.
if it's a little kid, mom doesn't have as much free time.
Now you
There-
might have to take this kid up from the jail at some point and not tell the mama about it, but
That's a
just
positive, though.
character building. Yeah, that's just being
the
a
only
man.
danger I see for men is if you have a woman who has a teenage daughter, like that might be a little bit of a concern, only because in this world it's so easy for false allegations to be made.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
I mean, I got a teenage daughter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
She's crazy.
I can
She's
see why
rock-
men are concerned about being,
rock.
you might not want to be alone with somebody's teenage daughter just for fear of allegations.
Yeah, you catch that sometimes. My oldest daughter, it looks like she's Arabian because her dad was, right? And so when her dad died when she was an infant, I just kind of adopted her along with my daughter and some other dude's kid. and me, my wife, my baby mama, and her 17 freaking husbands all took turns raising all the kids. Let one of these kids get in trouble at school. Call a parent teacher conference and watch all 12 of us walk in there as a goddamn unit. What are you doing now?
Yeah.
What are you
Sasquatch
going
is the right person to ask.
That would be an
Crazy
argument.
motherfucker. That motherfucker's crazy as motherfucker.
like? You got, dude, I'm not even the craziest looking guy in the group. There's this 6'7" dude over here. Looks like somebody from the Little River Band.
Oh shit.
And Texas Bully Mom follows up again. Says, I got married at 22 and became a stepmom of 3. The kids were effing amazing. I love to hear that. My ex, I won't elaborate on what ended happening. So it sounds like she didn't necessarily have an issue with being with someone, but you know what? I bet it was the tearaway.
Yeah.
The tearaway. That hurts. I 100% understand that. That hurts. Jason gave Tommy Gunn in chat a little brief time out. I guess he wasn't being very friendly in the chat, and Iotin follows
The
up
other
with
Jason, okay.
the other Jason. And Iotin doubles down, so I've set a timer, and I'll just have to time him out for another 10 minutes after that one, because it only allows you to do so many minutes. But yes, thank you so kindly. Paul, backstage, I need a face in front of the camera. Yeah, more than that. You got to go down. I got to see that you're not. Okay, I got you. You're not naked, are you? You're not naked back there, are you?
You guys like my shirt?
You're only doing like
fapping.
this. I gotta see. Just pan out a little bit. Show me that you're wearing a shirt. I just need to see that you're wearing a shirt or something. Because all I see is a little face.
They're talking about
Yeah, I'm the only one allowed to be shirtless up here on a robe. I did that last time by
Like,
accident.
hold your arm up so I can see that there's a shirt on there. You gotta pan the camera down. Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
pan that
you're good.
camera
All right.
down.
All right. If you want to go back into avatar mode, that's fine. Thank you. All right. Just making sure. I'm sorry. Was just making
No,
sure.
it's all right.
People get crazy on here.
I think I have a road pass for the paddle.
Why I'm not getting the audio
Paula,
through my headset?
Yeah, we can hear
Let
you
me
just
try and-
fine.
Let me try and suss it out.
Suss it out.
Through my headset.
That is Irish. Are you Irish? This is gonna be great.
No, I'm Scottish.
Scottish.
Right, I've got it now.
Scottish.
Oh,
Scottish.
that's even better.
Yes. Can
Yeah,
you say
that is, yes.
for me?
Well, I'm Scottish, but going by my DNA, I'm more Irish than Scottish.
Oh.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Right.
It's very nice to meet you.
Andrew.
I'm from the east coast of
Andrew.
Canada.
Jason,
Already
hold-
with my top favorite panelists.
So let's drop in, Paula. What are your thoughts on single moms? Do you have any?
My thoughts on single moms.
great.
It's trying to word it. Give me time to word it. I've not got anything bad to say against single moms or single dads. We're all just the
go
same
on.
people.
Tell me more.
Tell me more.
Yes.
We've not got. Well, why would anybody want to say anything bad about a single parent?
What'd she say?
I don't know.
I heard
Why would she want? Why would she want to say anything bad about a single parent? But we're talking about, like, would you consider, if you were single, dating a single mother
or father.
Or
Hell,
father.
That's a good question.
or father? Yeah.
Well, right. See, here the debate will continue. Right. I'm older. I'm like 51-year-old. I've been married for 27 years. Our kids are all grown up. So the last thing I'm going to be doing is dating MD.
Well, a hypothetical for you, Paula. So we like to play hypotheticals, and you got to put yourself in someone else's shoes. So let's pretend you are a 23-year-old woman, and you met a guy, and he tells you and he's your age range too, and he tells you, yes, I have a 3-year-old daughter, whatever the circumstances with the mother you're not sure of, you just know he's a single dad so far. Would you be okay if you were single and he was single? Would you be okay with dating him knowing that he has a child that you would potentially be helping to raise later if you were to pursue and get married?
I think if the circumstances are right, yeah. Because we don't choose who we fall in love with. We don't get to choose that shit. Eh?
That's
I love
fair.
that movie.
That's
I feel
fair.
like for a guy, it's way
Yeah, he's
different,
doing the movie.
right?
He's doing the
Like
movie.
historically, guys have had multiple wives.
It's a good movie.
That's been
What's
a
a
thing
good
in
movie?
humanity.
Braveheart.
That depends on culture, but yeah.
Freedom!
Well,
I'm
through
afraid
all
glad somebody
cultures,
understood
right?
me.
Guys will have mistresses, and that'll be okay, right?
No, I
Like,
got you.
that's kind of
I
okay in
wouldn't
a
say
lot
it's
of, in a lot of
okay. I mean,
situations where
it happens.
the reverse isn't okay. Like the child is tied to the mother, so it's a little bit different, but with some similarities, obviously.
But what about those fathers who have their children and the mother doesn't? Is the child still tied to the mother?
I
I
think
don't
making
think
lots,
it should
making
be
lots of judgments about these things. I don't know, like, and judging people because of situations. It's not a cool thing to do. Like,
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well,
I
how else
agree
will
that
you
tied
judge
to the
them?
mother.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. It
At
is
least
not
past the age
what
of
to do,
nursing.
you see, because you make decisions and the decisions you make have effects on your life and others. And then you get to look at what they've
I
done
don't
in
know.
their
For me,
past
I
and
want
what
my
they
own
do
family.
now.
I don't want to share. I don't want to have like this like. split
You're going to live a
custody,
lonely
like,
life. It's going to
sharing
be
family. I
disappointing
want my own
and you're
family.
not going to like it. You need to share love.
I'm
You
selfish.
need to give in order
I'm
to
not.
get.
I'm a selfish person, and I think
We know.
everyone should be a little bit selfish.
do you
Not
know
be
something?
bunch of
I
cucks.
jumped into the stream. I jumped into the stream when this guy was talking about that he gets annoyed when he gives everything, and then that person goes and gives it to somebody else. And I'm
Bunch of
thinking,
fucking
well,
blokes, right?
if you're given, why are you expecting to receive?
He's
You
being
don't get-
Because
punishing.
it's a circus.
Yeah, fuck him. He's being
Circus.
punishing.
Hold on.
You don't put
Shh,
power
hold on,
into
just
No.
something
let
and
me
it short
let me interrupt for
circuit.
just a
That's
moment.
just
I just have to
being
go
a
check
cuck.
on something really quick. Tootie and Mrs. Balderson are in charge. Please continue to not interrupt each other and work mindfully. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Play nice.
Somebody was talking about kids being tied to the mom, and I don't think there's a reason that kids shouldn't be tied to both parents. You get different things from each parent.
Well, literally, they are tied to their mother at birth with an umbilical cord.
Yes.
They're not tied to their
Not
dad
every
at
mother
all.
is a good
You
mother.
speak over me. You're cottaging.
That's why.
Who just said the last thing? And
An
repeat
This,
that.
umbilical
this
cord,
gentleman next to me.
literal tying, literal
Yes,
connection to the
we
body.
know what an umbilical cord is. We
Yeah, I know what
I
recognize
that
think
is.
that's the
Yeah, we
same-
get
you
it, and
think
the
that's
kids
the same
came out of
as
the
a dude?
father's balls. We understand how biology works, dude. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, and I'll say this. I have 2 boys, and when they were teenagers, they were better off with their dad. They needed to learn how to be a man from a man.
Yeah.
I was not equipped. I was going through a very liberal phase. I was not very tied to reality. I was living in a fantasy world where I thought things were just happy-go-lucky all the time, and I had really no sense of real-world consequences. My boys needed the influence of their dad. They really, really did. I didn't think so at the time, but I know it now. Am I still tied to my boys? Absolutely. Do I love them more than anything? Absolutely. But did they need their dad more than they needed my emotionalness? Absolutely. They needed to learn how to be a man from a man. I wasn't going to teach them that. I was going to teach them to be emotional wrecks.
Right. Totally
That's-
agree.
Respect, love.
Yes, ma'am.
Touche,
So-
pussycat.
Salute to that. No, everything's
I mean, I wish that I could say I
You
was
did
a
on
different
ball. You
person
did on
and that I would have been a better primary parent, but really I wasn't in that place. And I'm glad that they had the dad that they did, who was teaching them how to grow into men. I'm
Respectful
proud
men.
of who they are. He did a good job.
Brilliant.
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss Baldwin.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Well, I wish that I could go back and just be better back then. That was the best option.
But no, it doesn't matter. You've done it perfect, obviously.
No,
You didn't want your boys to suffer for your own issues.
No, she did it right.
Exactly. No, I don't. I don't want my kids to suffer for my own issues. And I also realized early on in our divorce that it was one of those you can fight and damage the kids, or you can let them have peace and not play the games. You can, because there was so much animosity towards me that I'm not trying to play a victim. He was mad, and he but the kids, if they spent any amount of time with me, then they had to pay for it. So it was, that part sucks when parents can't just co-parent. Like Squatch was talking about having 9 parents in some kids' lives. That's ideal when they're all on the same side, aligned.
Yeah, he claimed that, but did he live it? I lived it. I know you lived it because you're telling me. I lived it.
I think it's great. I wish that we could have co-parented. I really, really, really do. I really
like my
admire
dad
people who do that. It's
we got into some arguments, this and that shit. He wrote himself off. He took a fucking gun, he put it there and blew his fucking brains out.
But on a side note,
And why did he do that?
I
Why
don't
the
know.
fuck? What the fuck
I
made
don't
him do
know.
that? Probably an
but on a
energy
side note,
research.
children need to learn for themselves.
No, can you explain it to
Yeah,
me?
you don't know. You don't know.
All right, what did I miss?
exactly.
I don't know.
What makes someone fucking do that?
It was
What
actually
makes
fun.
anybody do
I
anything?
fucking don't know. I've never learned.
Allow me to kindly remind everyone that when you interrupt each other or talk over each other, we actually can't hear any of you at all. So all it does is in the headphones. So if I hear, then as does the audience. So be mindful when somebody's talking to just let them finish their thought and then continue on. And if you continue to interrupt each other, then you're going to see why they call me the Raging Tomato, and it's not going to be pretty for any of you.
But I was saying, on a side note, we all know, every parent knows that children need to learn for themselves, because it's when they feel that emotion that's when the learning comes.
That's when the what comes?
And learning.
Oh my God!
Learning.
Listen.
I'm trying to get past it's hard for me sometimes. Like when
I know, you Americans. I know. We know.
Translate. It may be funny.
I'm trying. Once I get used to an accent, accident. Paula's just an accident.
I've not got an accent. It's all you that have got an accent.
I like that. Look at gaslighting. What music? There's no music.
But everybody's reality is different.
Will you please say cow for me? I love the way the Scottish say cow.
Cow?
Oh, you didn't say it the way you used to. It's coo.
Cow? Aye.
Cow.
Cow?
I've always got friends from Scotland that say coo.
You don't know.
instead of
You
cow.
don't know. You don't know.
Now,
You do know. You do know.
Now,
Most
why
people
is it do we think that single mothers get such a bad reputation as an overall general concept? Especially, hi, Ivan, I see you backstage. I'll add you to the roster. If somebody gets booted, we'll add you up. And again, it is lady.
I'll go out.
It is.
I'm watching now.
Griff.
Okay,
Yo,
Jason.
Griff.
I know. They always fuck it up. Hi, Ivan. How are you? All right. So why do single mothers, especially in the red pill space, a lot of us are very familiar with the territory that we sit in. I know I am a target because she's just a single mom, right? So why is it that men have created this stir over single mothers, and why they're just bad juju all around and don't date them?
I would like to bring a couple points on that, right? And
Sure,
I'm
go ahead,
not sure
Vibe.
if I got Paula correct
Vibe.
when she first came on board, but I thought she kind of touched on a point about like a single father and a single mother, right? So if you run into a man who has sole custody And let's not worry whether he was divorced or whatever, but he's the sole parent versus a mother with sole custody. Does society not value them different? My second thing I actually brought up in the very beginning of this chat when it came to categories, let's not forget me as a Christian. The very dominant single mother was Mary. She was impregnated prior to getting married, and her name was Mary. And she was a single mother, and she gave born to Christ. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Single mothers can do amazing things. 2 points I just really wanted to throw out there. I'll open it up to everybody else.
I actually want to say I brought up the idea that Mary was a single mother, and I got laughed at by a bunch of men for saying that.
That's
Like horrifically
Were
laughed
these
at.
supposed good Christian men that
Well,
supposedly,
Maybe.
Let's look at that story. Joseph actually was a very good man, and he found out she was pregnant, and he didn't want to disgrace her, so he was going to privately annul the marriage until an angel came and said, no, you don't understand who this child is. You need to be the father of this, and by the way, you're going to be the father of God when
She was
you're
also a
delivering
virgin,
that.
though.
Yes, well, I mean,
Also a
and
virgin.
we can go in some slippery slopes there because did she ask for it, and God gave it to her.
And
but-
this is how the cuck, and this is all how.
Oh my God!
Vibe that said
Vibe just came in. Vibe just came in. He opened the grenade and he chucked it at the panel, and he said, "Go." Did
Yeah,
she
this is how the
ask for
cuckable
it?
was conceived.
No,
This is all how the cuckable came about.
She was a virgin. That's the difference.
Was.
That's the distinction. She was a virgin. Impregnated by aliens, right? Impregnated by angels or aliens.
Personally-
You can thank Santa or you can bang Dusty.
That
Get
is
your
not the
cuckable
same.
mug tonight.
That is
So
not the
personally,
same as a single mother that you're going to meet, right? That's not the same.
Right, so
That's not even close.
single
Go ahead,
mothers,
Nice
Paula.
single,
try.
Go ahead,
single
Paula.
mothers, I believe they get a lot of stick, is because women in general get a lot of stick, and when there's something that is, I don't know, gives a reason for them to out them, for them to make them the villain, something to make women the villain. People jump on that.
I was going to say, I think in the red pill specifically, I think that some men are just bitter because their women left them and they hold it against all women. You've all met those men. There are some. Not saying they're all in that category, but also a single mom does come with more baggage than somebody that isn't a single mom.
And let's face it, 40 years ago, a woman would be locked away for thinking about leaving her husband.
Yeah, that's true. Ivan's like probably ready to bang his head against the wall. Go ahead, spit it out. I know. Go ahead.
Well, I was actually in a very similar situation in the sense that when I came here to Madrid, I befriended a Ukrainian woman. She's like a very beautiful, talented, intelligent person who happens to have a child from her previous marriage, right? And I asked my priest, okay, do you think this is viable? And he said, no. She's a great person, but you should seek to be with a person who doesn't have that history. And maybe a person who's, let's say, saintly and maybe well established financially, he can bear the burden of taking care of someone else's child, even though it's not their own. But I can also see the argument for why it's spiritually unhealthy for a person who's trying to, let's say, build a relationship that pulls them and their spouse towards God, why they wouldn't want to marry someone who has a previous history. Because like, and this is something that we converts to Orthodoxy speak about a lot, which is like, okay, you were a degenerate bastard. You cannot expect to marry like a virgin. Like you're probably better off with let's say a convert who has also been around the block. Okay, the ideal would be a virgin of a good family. The family is intact. All of the values are there. But why would that person give you the time of day? right? And it goes both ways. So it's not just like casual misogyny. It's actually about wanting to be yoked together with someone who is really on your same spiritual level. And you have to have the humility to understand that, look, you're not a saint, so why would a saint want to marry you?
You know, I think Sarah did a really good job last night on her debate, and it was actually like talking about like left and right getting married. You know, and if somebody believes in abortion or doesn't believe in abortion, if you guys get married because you're lovey-dovey, but then when it comes to the point where that's actually an issue, everything's going to fall apart, right? I think the same thing falls true for somebody, even maybe a mother who had multiple baby daddies. We know some people in this space that married women like that. And potentially they made a change in their lives and they actually came to be yoked the same as their new husband. They come to a political view that's the same. And therefore, I would say they are justified in getting married, even with their past. However, if you are in that one side of your faith and one side of your beliefs, and that other person is still potentially that hasn't moved to that level yet, that could be a very unhealthy yoking. So like you said, I went to my pastor or my priest, and they said that might not be healthy. Well, I would say it's probably because only one of you went. If you both went and discussed that, then both of you guys were at that level where she's already repenting. She wants to move and be better. I think it's a shame that anybody looks down on single mothers ever, if they are looking to be better, just because you got in that scenario. And there's a billion scenarios. It can be the most virtuous scenario, like being a widow, or the least virtuous scenario. But as long as you've evolved and have grown, then you should be allowed to move up in that scenario.
Well,
Can I step in here?
Why don't single mothers look for single fathers and have a blended
So-
family?
So what I was thinking was when you went and asked your holy person, whatever he was, priest, minister, whatever, if she was good enough because she wasn't a virgin, did that person ask you if you were a virgin?
He knew that I wasn't.
Oh, so
no,
you're not pure either, right?
Right.
You-
Right.
Don't have kids.
Okay. Right. But you don't. You
So what's
just don't
your
have
point,
kids.
though?
I don't have
What's
kids.
your point? You get to choose if you don't have to go into a relationship with people. You're not forced to do this, right? Like you don't have to go take care of someone. That's not your duty. Like you get to choose. So it's like
You're right. You're right, but there's a caveat. There's a caveat because, like, if you're the only person who can marry that person, then it kind of becomes your duty. In a sense, it's like.
But I
let's
don't
put it
think
this
you'll be
way.
the
Hell
only
no.
person.
Libertarian. Like,
hell no.
thinking-
That person made their bed and they can lay in it and you can go somewhere else.
Oh, I completely agree with your philosophy in the sense of like broader culture. Like, you're not supposed to, like, if all of the women in this generation are sluts and like you don't want to deal with that, like, more power to you. I mean, I think you're correct in trying to like even try to skip a generation. But the point is, like, not if you're doing charity like by marrying down or whatever, but if you actually do owe something to other people. And if you're living in a community and there's, for example, there's a poor person in your community, you're supposed to help them if you have the means.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with marriage. The question is, like, do you have a duty to someone who's not of your faith denomination, who's not in your immediate community, who's just part of this like ill-defined broader sense of nationhood? It's like you don't have a duty to marry like a Muslim single mother.
I see what you're saying. If you have like a built-up community that you're a part of, I definitely see what you're saying. Like it might be then a duty to fulfill that to keep your nation going, right?
I think you guys are both kind of right in a sense, because if you decide to marry somebody, in my opinion, you have a duty. Now, if you didn't actually, you also, before you marry them, you have a duty to find out if they're still a whore when you marry them. And if you marry them when they still are, then you married the wrong person. You didn't do your duty in marrying the right person in the first place, right? But even if you're an idiot and you marry that person, you still have the duty to take care of their responsibilities. But Raleigh, you're 100% right. The man also should have a duty. He doesn't have to marry her but he has a duty to make sure, and this goes back in the original conversation, that you guys have grown to the point where you now are both at equal moral statuses or close to equal, regardless of your past mistakes. One person might have been a saint, one person might have been a sinner, maybe you were both sinners, but now you've come up to something equal where you guys believe that. But I agree, Ivan, even if you're an idiot and you get the butterflies in your stomach and you go to Vegas and you get married, you've now actually made a commitment. You have a duty, even if you made a mistake, to take that responsibility. But Raleigh, I don't think you have a duty to actually have married that person in the first place.
Yeah, obviously.
I wouldn't frame it that way. Like, I have a very similar position, but it's not that you get to decide what your duties are. Like, your duties pre-exist your desire to be a part of this or that communion. And in that sense, I would say, do you remember the Levirate marriages in the Old Testament? Basically, if your brother dies, you're supposed to marry his widow. And
if there's no children.
Yeah, if there's no children. If there's no male children, I think. But the point is that, like, the idea there is to protect the widow. You have to protect the widow from being, let's say, excluded from society.
Well,
that's not what the New Covenant talks about, because also in those in Deuteronomy,
you're both talking at once.
Sorry,
I
go ahead.
I didn't hear either of you.
As I understand it, you're providing your brother with a vessel to be reborn in, because he didn't have a child.
No. It's not like that. It's not a vessel to be reborn in. It's basically an heir. You're producing an heir that is able to carry on the family name on his behalf. It's not that he's reborn in that family. It's that you're continuing the lineage in the, let's say, in a way that substitutes. Let's put it this way: if you're paying for a woman's support, like financially, and you're not having sex with them, aren't you more of a cuck than if you're actually married to her?
Okay, so
say I would say that it would be better if you did marry her. So that would be
what I will jump in and say is there might be more single mothers in the world, but there's definitely more man-whores.
There's definitely more.
As a man
more man-whore, right?
Definitely more man-whores.
Like in
there
the
might
50s,
be more single mothers, but there's definitely more man-whores.
I think it goes both ways, right? I mean, so back in the 50s, when you had single mothers, it was more deadbeat dads that just didn't want that responsibility and ran away, right? Than women like whoring around. So you single mothers were more rare in the 50s. Nowadays, you've got single mothers because they are whoring around, but you still now you have more deadbeat dads too that are also whoring around, part of the red pill community, where they're like, oh, I didn't want that baby, and this mother's like, well, actually I did want a baby, and this is how I was going to get you to marry me. We just have this like messed up society
saying that women are whoring around as single mothers is judging them all, is it not?
What's that?
But surely that's judging, saying that all single mothers are whoring.
I don't know. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying I'm saying back in the day, it was more men that were deadbeat dads that caused single women. Now with feminism and red pill, which is both a failure on men and a failure on women, by the way. I'm actually saying both sides are wrong in that new society. Now we have deadbeat dads and women that are whoring around. Not all women, not all men, but we have a bigger epidemic that's happening in society that I think is degenerate. It's the degenerate society. And I'm actually not saying women are at fault and men are at fault, but yeah, I would say feminism, modern feminism, is a part of the cause.
Why do we have the term shotgun wedding?
Because of Georgia.
Does anybody remember what a shotgun wedding is?
Yeah.
What's a shotgun wedding?
Got pregnant, dad holds a shotgun, telling the boy he's getting married to his daughter.
If we had more shotgun weddings, you wouldn't have single mothers.
True. Yes, you would.
I don't think.
Yes,
hold on. I don't think women getting knocked up by their boyfriends is a new thing. We just had more shotgun weddings, so they were getting knocked up, and dad said, "You will fix this," and they get married, and then now they're not a single mother. Now in today's age, you get knocked up. And I'm not saying all men are bad in this way. Please don't take it the wrong way, gentlemen. But a lot of men say, I don't want to be a dad, book and roll, right? And then she's left to become a single mother because he didn't do what we would consider being the right thing. Yep. So most single moms are left behind, not just, oh, well, she divorced him and left. Like most single moms start off as a single mom.
Yeah.
I don't know
completely
about
agree
most.
with what
Is
you're
that
saying,
true?
Sal, but I wanted to add a caveat because like those are two different conversations. One is, let's say, the more sociological, anthropological question of like, what do people actually do with X laws, with X, let's say, social mechanisms of control, and the other question is like, how does culture factor in all of this? And what I think the general trend is that we're noticing a rot in culture and we're naming it. Some people say, oh, it's feminism. Some people say, oh, it's liberalism. Some people even trace it back to religious ideas. And the question is not like whether we should apply social mechanisms of control or not. The question is like, what's the spirit like behind those mechanisms of control? Because I don't think there were that many shotgun weddings. I think that culture degenerated in the direction of more personal freedom. So like, it's not that it's not so much that modern men, while I do think they're deadbeats, like when they have children, I don't think that it's modern men who have like single-handedly like washed their hands off like having children.
Okay. But isn't the alternate to what you're putting forth here?
Let him finish, 10th man. He wasn't done.
I think.
Yeah, but you know how these people are. They'll say all this stuff and then they'll switch gears and then it won't be the same question.
10th man, let him finish his thought, please.
I think that the point is, if you have the personal, let's say, if you have the cultural mandate that like it's your personal decision, and then you have other women saying, no, I can be a single mom and it will be fine, and it's like I can do it all on my own, and like look how empowering this is, then you are going to get more single moms doing it out of copying that poorly modeled behavior from others. So
can
it's
I ask
actually
you
more of a cultural concern.
Can I ask you something, Ivan? Do you think a single mom would actually choose and want to be a single mom?
Some of them do. I know them because I social media.
Do you know?
I think
like,
most of them just have no choice. Sorry.
Let me ask you this, Ivan. You have a route A of partnership, help, financial stability, or more assistance with your spouse. 2 people caring for 1 child, or even 3 children or more. Half the mental load, half the workload. Somebody else to be there, support system, all of these things, or do all of that shit by yourself. Do you think that women actively say, I'm going to go be empowered and be a single mom because that sounds fun?
No, what they do is they say, I want some dick on the side.
Let me
reply.
And
then they say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to divorce this guy.
Do you know how it, do you, okay, let me, do you really think women are quick to push the divorce button without thinking of all of those things?
I don't think they're thinking. I think they're like hypnotized and shit.
I actually have a good answer to what you're saying, Sarah.
Okay.
I think that the question is not whether women analyze their potentials, because even from within the red pill, you have people saying that actually women are very smart in their mating strategy, and they always like they climb vines, and they're not letting go of the vine that they have before they find a new one. And it's actually behavior that I've seen before. It's like a woman will not leave their current boyfriend unless they already have their candidate that is a safe, secure, like they have a roster. like men, just like men have their rosters, women have their rosters. And what I want to say about this is, like, of course, Sarah, everybody loves free money, but there's strings attached. I wish I was a millionaire, but I'm not. Now, if the question was, would I rather be captain of my own ship or play second fiddle to someone else who I will always be subservient to because they have the money and they have the authority? I think that a lot of women within this individualist culture will say, I'd rather take my gamble with the system as it is because laws actually favor me. And if I divorce the other person, I can get half their stuff without doing any work. And that's the incentive.
Do you know that most women post-divorce actually end up more financially struggle, number one, and then also most post-divorce women don't remarry.
Yeah.
What happened to your monkey branch theory? If they're not remarrying and they're not financially better off, how are they doing better when they're divorcing? How is this like, oh, they're doing it because they found the next guy already and they're just going to the next guy? Or
can I throw in as well, Sarah, that there's a massive difference between subservient and submissive? Massive difference.
There is no.
You can't expect women to be subservient, right?
I think that you're making a fallacious argument, thinking that women are thinking. Like, a lot of them are listening to other women. A lot of them are listening to other women. They're watching movies. They're just getting hypnotized, and they're making these. It's true. How many women do you think are making these decisions for themselves, or they're in the workplace and they have a group of other women that are toxic and they're telling them what they should do?
But we could also say that about men.
You should leave this guy, right?
Okay, but no. You're saying these things.
Say that about men.
And then
Sir, you're saying these things, but are you experiencing these things? Like, do you sit with groups of women who are doing and saying the things that you're alluding to it happening? Have you actually experienced this, or is it because
does that actually happen?
But
I don't know.
no, I'm saying no.
I'm not gonna make
Right, you're just literally making it up. Are you fucking kidding me right now? That's what I'm talking about. Is I talk to ladies.
Right?
No, sir. I talk to ladies on a regular basis. I don't hear the things that you're saying. You're literally making this up. You're the one who's getting hypnotized by a movie and then coming on the internet presenting as if it's real.
Let's ask the ladies. Hold on. Let's ask the ladies. Raleigh wants to pretend to be one of the ladies tonight, but we're gonna ask the actual women. Tootie, let's start with you. Are you experiencing, or have you experienced situations where women get together in the office and tell each other to divorce their husbands?
Me personally, no.
All right, that's.
I can only say that.
Have you ever heard of that happening, though?
I have experienced it.
Okay, Mrs. Balder. So we got one on each side. All right. So
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I have never. personally experienced it.
I'm not gonna
okay. You wouldn't go as far.
So
as
hold on. Mrs. Balderson, would you like to elaborate a little bit more about this experience? Maybe we can understand.
It happens. It's not an isolated incident, but it's also not a common thing. But I do think that women in general, not that I don't think guys do it too. If guys don't like their friend's girlfriend, they're gonna bag on that girl until the guy is either alienated or the girl's out of the picture. Girls do the same thing.
All the men are going to try and shag their pals' girlfriends.
Well, oftentimes I think because I think women tend to see red flags sometimes for their sisters where there aren't any. And I think also sometimes we see things that we do really see, and we encourage women to get out because they're in a bad situation. But I've also been through enough of those with women to know that you're telling them they're in a bad situation isn't making the bad situation worse. They're going to leave when they feel like they can, and you're not going to make them leave until they feel like they can, because there's a lot that has to go into that. So I've seen good women discouraging women from other men, but I've seen the bad too. I've seen women who are freshly divorced or freshly out of a relationship encouraging bad behavior from their friends. I've seen both. But I don't think that the bad behavior is common. It's not the majority. It's not even close.
You ain't got time to go have bad behavior when you're trying to totally rebuild your life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I've experienced a little bit of both where in terms of seeing people, as you said, find red flags that aren't really there. But I also think that the due diligence falls on the person, right? If you are going and actively complaining to people, right, about your spouse or boyfriend, they think
it's a red flag.
That, thank you. Like that already isn't a good partner to begin with in that aspect. I could understand like having maybe one or two girlfriends that you vent to, because women we're gaggles, like we have to vent out. But most women, we just sit there and vent about shit, and then we're like, oh my god, eat my Ben and Jerry's and I'm good. Okay, we're good. Move on. But but I don't think most. I think something has to be really bad for somebody to be persistent on, hey, you should probably exit that relationship. That's not healthy at all, right?
But I don't think
go
it's
ahead.
on anybody else.
Sarah, this is the thing. Just, ma'am, I'm very fast. I know we don't know each other, but just quick. I'm real quick. So, Sarah, but this conversation just changed from what I had interjected about, which is a mother leaving the husband in a relationship where there's children, and now we're talking about boyfriends and girlfriends, and girl, you're better than that, and all that. That's not what we're discussing. We're discussing single parents. So we're discussing where I have never seen, very rarely, unless it's a severely abusive relationship, someone saying, yeah, you should definitely leave your man that you have 2 kids with. I don't see that happening unless it's like an extreme set of circumstances. So what Buddy was saying was, oh yeah, and all the girlfriends are all sitting around leave your husband that you have 2 kids with. I don't think that's happening. Mm-hmm. That's what I interjected about. It's a big difference saying girlfriend, boyfriend, blah, 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 as opposed to husband with children. I don't believe that's happening. I don't see that happen. I've been in these situations. I'm almost 50 years old. People confide in me behind the scenes personally about this type of stuff, right? And I don't hear this. No, I'm not. We're not in a movie, dude. You're talking about a movie. I'm talking about real life.
Okay, so here's real life. Here's real life. There's a 50% divorce rate. Why does that happen? You think they're all abusive?
Because they married a guy like you that put it up a front that you were going to be a good husband, but you were a pussy bitch that goes on the internet and lies. That's the reason.
Women can survive on their own. Women can survive on their own. They don't need a man.
Let's not pretend that the divorce rate hasn't been super high since the 80s.
But why?
Why are they divorcing?
Why is it high? Why is it high?
Oh, I
Why?
keep DCing, actually.
Okay, so let. Oh, isn't that interesting? He ran away. I was just about that. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Ivan.
Yes, because I think that you're trying to, let's say, hide from the fact that the liberal culture in itself is corroding the bonds of let's say, marriages, because everybody has to be the master of their own house. To the point
No. Stop. Stop. Are both of you straight? Yes. No. We're going to get right down to the nitty gritty. We're not going to do all this fluff. That's not what I come here for. All right. So I want to know: are both of you guys straight?
I don't give a shit. Are
both of you guys straight?
I don't give a shit. I'm
an
Orthodox Christian. I don't have to listen to you.
Do you have a significant other?
What? Yes, I have a girlfriend. So
a girlfriend. Have you ever been married?
No. And?
Okay. Other gentlemen, are you straight and are with a woman?
Have I been married? No.
Really?
Well, actually.
Do you currently have a girlfriend?
Married. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, are you still with that person now?
No.
Okay, why?
Because I found out she was a whore.
Right, but that's not the real reason. See, I can already tell by No, it's not. I can already tell by interacting with the two of you that being in a relationship with you and having to have discussions with you like this on a regular basis would be arduous. I'm not going to sign up for that. Do you understand? I don't think either one of you are good enough to get the woman that you think you deserve.
This person.
I don't believe either one of you are good enough to get the woman you believe you deserve.
Well,
Neither one of you.
True.
I believe it is true because I can tell by your personality. You guys could be ultra rich and you still won't be able to keep a woman. You still won't be able to keep a woman, bro. You still won't be able to.
Cuck. I already have one, you cuck. Keep coping from the cuck chair. Maybe.
So then, why are you? No, yeah, voyeurism is kind of hot, but that's not the discussion.
I won't settle.
You're a pervert.
Why should she settle for someone who's not intellectually honest like you?
How am I not intellectually honest?
Because you're half of the relationship.
What is your point? I was not the whore.
No, but you obviously weren't giving her what she needed.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
You're
No, it isn't, actually. I think there was some hypnotism involved, and then she made a mistake, and there was so much shame. There was so much shame that she could not be in my presence after that.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, I'm a whore, right? Like, I've had sex with a lot of people, both men and women. I've been around the block. I'm as old as both of you guys put together. And I tell you, neither one of you do I find the slightest bit attractive. You're good looking, like, physically, but to listen to you speak, I would not even have a conversation with you that lasts more than 5 minutes.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you disagree with me on these little points, okay? If we get into a real situation, okay, where I'm competing against you, I'm going to whoop your fucking ass.
You will not.
And that's just it. So,
no, you won't.
For anyone that can see that, that's where it's at.
No, you won't. Have you ever worn a woman out where she's had so many orgasms throughout the night that the next day she's begging you to be in a relationship? No, it's just I don't think these dudes have what it needs, what it takes to keep something going, and I can see it in their personality type.
See, personally, I think we skipped way too far ahead, and I mean, if we backtrack this to single mothers, and I hate to do this, I know everybody's gonna hate me for it, but I think that single mothers and abortion are related because society today now doesn't understand that when you have sex, you're signing a contract that somebody might get pregnant, whether you want to get pregnant or not. And I personally think the moment you make that decision, no matter what age you are, no matter what your parents educated you on, no matter what the school did, or no matter how drunk you got or whatever, right? Just like when you get on a roller coaster, the car might fly off and you might die. Well, we're all going to accept death because we're dead. But what we've taught society today is if we get pregnant, we don't have to accept the consequences anymore. We can get an abortion because we don't believe it's a contract anymore. And if you're a woman who decides, you know what, I'm against abortion, but I still played around and didn't get married, and now I expect that husband, and I actually expect that husband. I actually agree with shotgun weddings. And if you actually talk to people, there's a lot of people that have been through that and actually went like it actually worked out, right? And I'm sure we can move to the next part. Like once you're married, how many shotgun weddings failed? How many succeeded? We can get in that whole conversation later. But the point is, when you have sex, current society says that's not a contract to have a baby, but it happens. And now we end up with single mothers and we end up with abortion, which are two big problems. And I saw somebody that said, this is why marriage is good before having sex. I agree with that, right? And hey, I know probably half this panel failed on that, including myself. And maybe we had to age a little bit and mature a little bit before we actually got it and understood it. It doesn't make the argument wrong whether we understood it younger or not. As long as we eventually understand, yeah, I was an idiot. My brain didn't work back then. Now my brain works. I should have understood that's a contract. I'm going to teach my kids that's a contract. If that happens to my son, I'm going to be like, yeah, you're going to marry her. You've got to man up. It's time. And we're gonna work this out as a family. You know, we're gonna be there to support you.
What
guys.
if she doesn't marry?
I think that's the first thing that we have to address. Now, after we address that, then we can go into marriage and why are men unhappy? Because I think it's a whole nother story. Because especially in today's society too, it's with double working families, husband and wife supposed to be best friends. A lot more stress on the family unit than there ever was before. And it may not be that they actually want to get divorced. It's just because of the stress of society today that's just I think I can do better, right? So many different topics, but I think you have to start at the beginning.
So then I guess ask the question. It's a chicken before the egg kind of question. Who is not taking accountability for making babies and not getting married? Who's accountable for making single mothers? Is it the men who don't shotgun wedding it and own up to being the father, or is it the women for getting pregnant?
How about just it's both?
On different levels.
They were doing it before they got married.
Every child born out of wedlock is the product of two bad decisions. The man for not using any protection with the woman he's with, and the woman for letting him do it without any sort of protections and for him or her.
No, it's not about prophylactics. It's about the particular case for women spreading their legs and the particular case for men not standing up and enforcing rules in society, because feminism and liberalism and all of these individualistic ideologies can only happen when men collectively abscond from their duties. So the reason why, for example, we're having these conversations is because men as a whole have failed at their duties of being men and upholding the principles that go behind shotgun weddings. If men had upholded those principles, you would still have shotgun weddings preventing all those single mothers. Of course, if women didn't spread their legs, that would also help them as well. But you have to, if you want to assign blame, it's we're all to blame, but on different accounts.
Tootie, hold on. Tootie wants to jump in on that. Go ahead, Tootie.
Okay, now, in saying that, what about how these men have grown up over the past, say, 20, 30 years with single mothers? What has the single mother life, for whatever reason, what kind of men has it produced?
Thank you. That is it. We don't know how to be men, and we haven't trained men to be good men. And I think one of the few things I would say to the two of you younger men is that if you don't respect women, they're not going to respect you. I'm not saying that, Ivan, you don't respect women, but if you want to be a leader, you have to love the people you're leading, or you're not going to do it well, and they're not going to respect you.
Speaking of respect, sorry, Jason sent in and chooses to boot Raleigh to bring up Ryan. So Raleigh, hang backstage. I got Ryan coming in. But then Ayaton says, can we kick 10th and get Ryan? I'm saving my credit. So now, Ayaton, you have 2 credits. Unless you still want to send 10th backstage, I will acknowledge that as well. It's up to you. Let me know in the chat. Back to you, Mrs. Balderson. I apologize.
Yeah, so I was going to say one of the things that I'm not going to speak for all women, but in general, if you want to have a submissive wife, you need to prove that your leadership skills are good and that you have her best interest at heart, and not always suspect that she's about to betray you or assume that she's a piece of shit just because she's a woman and is incapable of being.
And tell her she can't watch movies because she'll get hypnotized?
Yeah. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, women think more emotionally than men do. And it's not that there aren't exceptions to every rule. There are men who think far more emotionally and women who are very, very logical. But yes, we tend to be more emotional. So be consistent and be a good leader, and you'll attract a good woman.
Yeah, and I would say Miss Balderson, by the way, knowing your husband, I think he's a bit barbaric and animal loving and knows how to kill and like eat things. And I think that's actually a good father role. Like, I think that actually raised a good man, because if everything went to hell, who is going to take care of you? Right? Like, he's going to be able to. Right. And I love your husband, by the way. So when I said he's barbaric, I didn't mean like in a bad way.
No.
I mean, I think you need a little bit of that, but at the same time, and he also has a very logical mind. Now, his mind and I don't always agree. We definitely have some off thoughts, but at least he's willing to talk about it and discuss it. And I think that's a good role model for a boy. But I also think with just him, maybe the kids might be a little bit too crazy, and he needs you in there as well. That gives everybody that even balance, right? And that is the ultimate scenario for raising children, is to have the mother there for when the dad's going, yeah, go ahead, shoot it. And mom's like, no, we already shot enough today. We got enough to eat today. We don't need to get crazy.
His job is to be the rules. His job is to be the foundation. His job is to set the tone. But my job is to be the heart. My job is to explain behind the scenes. Yeah, it sucked that your dad had to punish you, but this is why he had to punish you. We both love you. And these are the consequences when you fall out of line. He's the hard line. I'm the soft touch. And it works well together. And I appreciate about him that if I don't understand his leadership, I can ask him and he will make sure that I understand, because if I understand, we're golden. I want to genuinely understand things. I'm a curious person. Explain it to me, because there have been so many things that I have disagreed with him from the beginning. We would have knockdown, drag out arguments about, no, it doesn't work that way. And then he would show me. And the proof is in the pudding. And that leadership I had to trust. And I trust it more and more all the time, because when I don't believe him, he's right.
Yeah. Well, in terms of like sexual dynamics, I think I agree with a lot of what you were saying, Ms. Balderson. But at the same time, it's like the patriarchy selects like the good candidates, and then women pick off like from the top. And the issue is that if your cultural criteria for what a good man is slanted, you're gonna get a bad selection. So, for example, like the idea that women have to be able to trust their men, of course they have to. Men have to trust other men as well. It's like we're embedded in a society, and we have men above us. Like if you have a job, you probably have a boss, and you have to be able to trust your boss to a certain degree. The question is not whether, let's say, we can ask our boss to show us their credentials, because no amount of credentials will, let's say, substitute the substance, the character, the love that you're talking about. And in that sense, I think that what we were sold in the West is the idea that we can always question authority, and we should be able to put ourselves in the place of questioning authority in order to guarantee an equal or just outcome. And I get where that, let's say, impetus comes from. It comes from the idea that, well, before in the past, like kings had children, and like the children, even no matter how incompetent they were, they would inherit. And if you were friends with the Pope, you would have like power, and you would have wealth because you were well connected. And the Enlightenment came in and said, hey, we don't want arbitrary leaders. We don't want our society run by a corrupt gang. We actually want to have our rules spelled out so that everybody can understand those rules. But the problem that I see is that we have gone so far that people are always demanding from their authorities something that they cannot ever receive. So like if you say, women should be able to trust men, there's nothing that men can do to become trustworthy forever. You can try to look at like signals of competence, but you don't know if that guy is going to be competent when shit hits the fan.
Well, and you have to be able to trust whether the competency. One thing that I am very stern about in terms of if I wanted to start dating again and let a man in my life, you have to be incredibly competent. Like that is my children at risk for that, right? And I would essentially be putting them in your hands. I mean, even though they have their dad, right? That's still another factor, but you are going to be in their life, and you have to be competent, and I have to know and trust that you don't just go like spending money on crazy stuff. You're not a gambler, you're not an alcoholic, you're not like a ding dong who doesn't even know how to screw in a light bulb kind of thing. In order for me to say, here's the reins, take them and lead us, I have to know I can trust you to hand them over. And it doesn't take much for me to lose that sense of trust and say, nope, you're a tard. Nope, not handing any reins over. Like the idea of being submissive, I'm happy to do it. I would love to just hand the fucking reins over and say, I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's all on you. You just tell me where to go, what to do. I'll show up, make you dinner, and call it a day. But I can't do that if I can't trust that you will do it better than me, 100 times better than me.
Which is
the hard way.
I agree with what Sarah's saying, but also like and even some of what Ivan was saying, frankly. But like I guess like I'm a little confused about why this particular part of the conversation is so gendered, because it feels like relationships in general, whether it's a man and a woman or a boss and an employee, and either both directions, those relationships are fundamentally built on trust and trust and competence specifically. So I guess it's weird the angle that these topics have been presented. So I guess if anyone wants to give like a justification for why it's specifically like, oh, women need to trust their man, or rather than, relationships need to be built on trust between two individuals. Like I don't agree with that at all. This framing, like why is my framing inferior perhaps from your perspective?
Because it doesn't account for the inherent